Hello, welcome, book club. This is Still Like an Artist. I'm Sari here with Sari Luna Designs. For those of you who are new, we have Kim and Zandra here. It's 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and Zandra thinks it's morning. Some of us on our new quarantine schedule do think it is morning, so that's okay. If you are new here, my name is Sari, and I host a weekly art live stream. Sometimes I will post videos, but this is where we come to figure out get those creative juices flowing and connect with each other in the chat if we are doing a live stream. So this week we're starting a new book. It's called Still Like an Artist. It's by Austin Kleon, and I actually did steal this book from a friend. My friend let me borrow it, and she had a very hard time letting me borrow it. She didn't want to let me, and I talked her into it, and then I was moving, and a whole bunch of stuff happened, and I never gave it back. So, Still Like an Artist. I am definitely practicing what I preach. Let's see here. 1 second here. We got a couple things going on. Zandra says that she's been up since 10, but she just ate her breakfast. Kim says, great, Zandra. How about you? It's great to have her son here. Oh, Kim's son is still here from visiting. So, all right, you guys, there is a journal that accompanies this book. I don't have it, but I'm going to buy it. So by next week, I'll have it. And I started this live stream probably just shortly after 2 o'clock, but normally I'm pretty on the spot. So what I'm doing is we're going to be doing the live stream content, and then when I get the journal next week, we're going to jump over to Patreon after we do some of our free content. So because this is turning into something more, I'm getting my Patreon account all set up. So right now, if you haven't already, feel free in the description here. You can go over to my Patreon and check out more content over there. I have full length painting tutorials and things like that for you guys. So, all right. So let's see. I guess we can just jump right in. So the first chapter in this book is actually called Still Like an Artist. So we've got a quote in here. It says, "Art is theft." This is from Pablo Picasso. T.S. Eliot says, "Immature poets imitate, mature poets steal, bad poets deface what they take, and good poets make it into something better, or at least something different. The good poet welds his theft into a whole of feeling which is unique, utterly different from that which it was torn." And I think that what this T.S. Eliot quote speaks to is that we can take inspiration from virtually anything. We can take inspiration from the colors of a sunset. We can take inspiration from a view. We can take inspiration from a department store setup. You can go into IKEA and take inspiration from that. And virtually anything that you visually or audio or you feel can propel you into creating something completely different than what it was originally. Zandra's asking if we were supposed to read the chapter, and no, we're just gonna come in here and go through it together. My hope for this is that I'm going to get the journal, and we're going to have some activities and stuff so you guys can follow along and we'll check in with each other. But no, we were not supposed to read the chapter beforehand, so you're all good. Book club. So, like, for instance, even my dress and my belt, I put this on and I'm just like, I really want to paint a painting themed from it. I think that would be really cool. Like this belt, for instance, could be like a really cool border, and then you could have like some galaxy scene, and the burst of color in a galaxy could actually be flowers. So for me, wearing this dress, I initially got that kind of vision. So as we work together with this, and as we start to or continue to be creative, we will then find inspiration in just like the most random things. And then creativity and innovation actually are, it's like a muscle that you use in your brain. Just like when you go to the gym and you do bench presses, and then you can eventually like up your weight. The more and more you use your creativity, your capacity for creative thinking, the more and more you're able to be creative and innovative. And by definition, creativity and innovation can be different depending on who you ask. But for me, what it is taking two or more things that seemingly don't relate, and finding a way to marry them together or present them in a way that does relate. So a lot of this can come out through puns. Like if you guys are familiar with puns, a pun is something where it's one thing, but because the word is the same as another thing, you can kind of get playful with that. I don't have a pun example right off the bat. Had I known I would have gone there, I would have given you a good pun example. But puns and wit use creative thinking, which is why, there's creative writing as an outlet, there's music as an outlet, there's visual art as an outlet. There's so many different ways in which you can utilize creativity and innovation. Especially in the tech world right now, there's so many new technologies where there's no rules on how to use it. And so you get somebody in there that's able to be creatively think, and you can just do some really neat stuff. So we've got some action here in the chat. We've got Zandra and Kim chatting back and forth. All right, so they're just greeting each other. We recently just finished up a 12-week book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. If you haven't plugged into that, go ahead and go back and look at my videos. Right now they're on YouTube for free, but I am going to be transferring over the larger portion of the content to my Patreon. So if you'd like to do that workbook, you are able to go follow along. And again, please check out my Patreon. The link is in this description. So we're just 2 pages in. All that I did was read some quotes, and I had so much to say. So this artist, Austin Kleon, he's got a picture of himself, and it's 19-year-old me could use some advice, and he's sitting there at a typewriter smoking a cigarette. And he goes on to say that all advice is autobiographical, and one of his theories is that when people give you advice, they're just talking to themselves in the past. And for him, this book is him talking to his previous self. He says there's things that he's learned over a decade that he's figured out while trying to make art. And the funny thing is that when he started sharing it with others, he realized that they aren't just for artists, they're for everybody. So his ideas apply to anyone who's trying to inject some creativity into their life and their work. And for him, he says that should describe all of us, which I'm in agreement with that. And in other words, this book is for you, whoever you are, whatever you make. So let's get started. So chapter 1 is Steal Like an Artist. For those of you who can't read it, I'll put it closer. Boom. So he's got a little diagram here. He says, is it worth stealing? Yes. Move on to the next thing. Is it worth stealing? No. Move on to the next thing. Interesting. So how to look at the world like an artist. Every artist gets asked the question, where do you get your ideas? And the honest artist answers, I steal them. So just like my initial description of how I would create a painting from this belt and dress combo, the only thing that I really interjected was a galaxy theme, and the galaxy, and then I was thinking about taking the belt as like a border. So really, like, did I come up with that idea on my own, or was that me being inspired by something, right? Like, so that was literally me stealing from whoever designed this dress and this belt. And all that I added was a galaxy and changing the format of the components. So really, art can be as easy as that. So how does the artist look at the world? First, you figure out what's worth stealing, and then you move on to the next thing. Kim says, crazy. Oh, I think that might have been in response to Zandra. So that's about all there is to it. When you look at the world this way, you stop worrying about what's good and what's bad, because there's only stuff worth stealing and the stuff that's not worth stealing. So everything is up for grabs. If you don't find something worth stealing today, you might find it worth stealing tomorrow or a month or a year from now. And then we have a quote down here from David Bowie. May he rest in power. The only art I'll ever study is stuff that I can steal from, David Bowie says. And over here we have a big old title on this page saying nothing is original. Absolutely nothing. And he goes on to say that Jonathan Lethem is a writer, and he said that when people call something original, 9 out of 10 times they don't know the references or the original sources involved. And what a good artist understands is that nothing comes from nowhere. All creative work builds on what came before. Nothing is completely original. He goes on to quote the Bible, saying that there is nothing new under the sun, and that's Ecclesiastes 1:9. So, think back. To those of you watching, take a minute. Let's think back. What was the last thing that you created? And what inspired you to create it? So I know Zandra's been working on some songs. I know that Kim's been working on some commissions, and Jeremy, I think Jeremy might be one of the people watching, and I know he's been working on some music and some graphics. So why don't you guys just take a minute and let's first off identify what is the last thing I created. And then just the first thing that comes into your mind, what inspired that? Just real quick, just go ahead and put that in the chat. Because you might, yeah. So go ahead and do that. Please, please, please. Moving on. Go ahead and just type it in, you guys. It'd be great. You can even, like, if you're watching on your phone, for those of you who struggle to type, you can click in the chat and do the voice to text function, so you can just say it, so you don't have to sit there and type it. So some people find this idea depressing, that there's nothing new under the sun, but it fills me with hope. As the French writer André Gide put it, everything that needs to be said has already been said. But since no one was listening, everything must be said again. And also, might I add, wherever you are mentally able to, whatever you're mentally able to hear or emotionally able to hear, you're going to pick up on something that resonates with you, and the things that don't, you're not really going to hear. So that's another thing that's good to be repeating yourself, is that once you finally grasp a concept, you can move on and take in the next. So, which is why it's really powerful for you guys. If you did do the Artist's Way, at the end of the Artist's Way, she's asking us to go through and read the book again, because we did make a lot of progress. We broke down a lot of our creative blocks. So if you are able to go back through the book again and read it through, just read it through and maybe do some of the tasks, you're going to grasp a lot more than you did the first time. Not necessarily because you weren't, there's so many reasons why. Again, maybe you weren't able to see it. Maybe you were only able to take in so much content at a time. So being repetitive and taking in content multiple times is going to allow you to really hear what the speaker has to say more thoroughly. And we have some action here in the chat here. Kim says that a walk in the woods inspired her to create an abstract cardinal bird window. So Kim, for those of you who haven't been following along with us, Kim does stained glass, custom stained glass, and she has her own art studio, and she does custom orders, and she creates really beautiful work. So an abstract cardinal bird window sounds really beautiful to me. So if you want, let's see, we'll try and get everybody's, if anybody has their work published online through Instagram, I'll try and get the links for you guys. Zandra said that the last thing she created was a series of mini canvases, abstract pieces in the yellow monochrome. I was inspired by the tarot cards, the small size, and the sun for the color. Beautiful. I know. Oh, yeah, Zandra, we were talking about that last week. We had a Zoom chat to celebrate the end of our workbook that we just did, and Zandra showed me her tarot cards. They're actually really beautiful, and one of the methods that she mentioned was just taking excess paint and scraping it on there, which I thought was really cool, because a lot of times if I don't use my extra paint, I'll just wipe it off my palette. But so actually this week I did put some extra paint onto another canvas that I was planning on painting. So I took inspiration from Zandra doing that. If you guys want to see, oh, Kim says she's sad she missed a Zoom party. It's okay, Kim, we'll have another one. And as this continues, we'll do more Zoom parties and workshops and things. I'll show you guys my most recent painting. So this is one that I'm currently working on. We can see a black person's hand and a white person's hand, and then what I did was I took their arms and I put it up into this swirl and kind of connected it into this trippy spiral. And I'm painting roots right now. I was working on this yesterday. I'm painting roots on the spiral, and I'm going to go in and add some leaves and flowers and vines. And what I'm doing with this painting, thank you, Zandra. Zandra says she likes the new details. What I'm doing with this painting is I really would like to donate the proceeds to a local company or a local organization that is taking action for change as far as our systematic racism goes. I really want to support the BLM movement, Black Lives Matter movement, and help to tear down the systematic racism that's been built into our system. And it's really important to me to help and support. So this is what I'm going to be doing. If you're interested in this painting at all the proceeds will be donated. I'm still deciding on the organization, but I think I've zeroed in on the one that I would like to donate the proceeds to, and I will be doing prints, and the prints will be 50% of the print profit will be going to donate for the cause as well, and I'm going to be doing more of that. So my inspiration for this, as you can see, the roots have a organic, natural inspiration. I do a lot with nature, and just the hands are symbolizing of like a connection almost, I think. So yeah, that's mine. So Zandra says yay, and she likes the new details. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot of roots on there, so that took quite a few layers. So I was working on that yesterday. So everything is inspired by something. For me, my painting was inspired by emotion, by the desire to help, and by certain visual aspects of representational art, like representation with the hands, and then the symbology of the roots and growing. And the spiral is a more kind of like a hypnotic element that, you know, a lot of us can never, or I mean, I know me personally, I can never know what it feels like to be a Black person or a POC that is being harmed by all of the stuff. So anyway, moving on. So again, back to this concept that nothing is new. If we're free from the burden of trying to be completely original, we can stop trying to make something out of nothing. And we can embrace influence instead of running away from it. And we have a quote here from William Ralph Ing. What is originality? And all that it is just undetected plagiarism. Okay. People are like messaging me. Also, this is really cool. Oh, you see my little lip gloss on there, but this is like a little Sasquatch mug, and this is by a local, I think she's a local artist. Her name's Susan. Oh no, I don't like showing art without referencing the artist, but her name is Susan something, but I saw her art for a really long time and I loved it, and I took a trip over to the Hoh Rainforest on the Washington Peninsula, and oh my god, I found this mug and I love it. Zandra says my biceps are ripped. Thank you. Working on my legs now. Oh man. Well, I do coffee all day, right? So I'm just like, oh, do you want to see? Okay, that you got a free gun show. So every new idea, so the genealogy of ideas, this is like the family tree of ideas, where you came from. Every new idea is just a mashup or a remix of one or more previous ideas. Sandra, damn, she says. Here's a trick that they teach you in art school. Draw 2 parallel lines on a piece of paper. Please excuse me, I need a manicure. How many lines are there? There's the first line, the second line, but there's also a negative line or a negative space via the line that runs between them. So there's really 3 lines there. So the equation is 1 + 1 = 3. Silly. So dad plus mom equals you. A good example is genetics. You have a mother and you have a father. You possess features from both of them, but the sum of you is bigger than their parts. You're a remix of your mom and your dad and all of your ancestors. Just as you have a familial genealogy, you also have a genealogy of ideas. You don't get to pick your family, but you can pick your teachers, and you can pick your friends, and you can pick the music you listen to, and you can pick the books you read and the movies you see. You are, in fact, a mashup of what you choose to let in your life. You are the sum of your influences. You know what? Let's read that again. Let's take a minute here. You are, in fact, a mashup of what you choose to let in your life. And Zandra says you can pick your nose. And that, sorry, she could not resist. Because I go, you can't pick your family, you can pick your teachers, you can pick your friends, you can pick the music you can listen to, you can pick the books you read, you can pick the movies you see, and you can pick your nose, says Zandra. I love it. Okay. You can pick your nose, you can pick your toes. All right, so you are, in fact, a mashup of what you choose to let in your life. You are the sum of your influences. The German writer Goethe said, "We are shaped and fashioned by what we love." You know, I was actually reflecting on that the other day. I was like talking to a friend, and I was dating a person, and then it ended, and I was with them for a while, and then after it ended, I realized I was doing things that person had done to me that I didn't like. So here it says, we are shaped and fashioned by what we love. Also, there's that quote where it says, you become like the people you spend most of your time with. So coming down here to choice, right? Like, do you like the way that, things and people you're surrounding yourself with feel and have do they have a positive effect on yourself and others? So interesting. So over here we have a little quote here by Jay-Z. It says, we were kids without fathers, so we found our fathers on wax and on the streets and in history. We got to pick and choose the ancestors who would inspire the world we were going to make for ourselves. Yeah, I like that. So, and again, I found that video that I was referencing last week where it was the 5 people you need in your life to succeed. I found that video, so I'm gonna post it in the comments on this video and on last week's video. Should have done it right when I saw it. So anyway, yeah, we can choose who we look up to. This guy's got an arrow straight smack through his head. And it says garbage in, garbage out. So that must mean we sabotage ourselves based on what we surround ourselves with. Let's see what he says. This is going to be good. So an artist is a collector, not a hoarder, mind you. And there is a difference. Hoarders collect indiscriminately. Artists collect selectively. They only collect things that they really love. Some artists can be hoarders, though, might I add. Which then shoots yourself in the foot and shuts down your creativity. Uh-oh. Clutter is not good for creativity. Makes you feel claustrophobic. Kim says she hoards glass. Those are supplies, Kim. I know what you mean. This is like a bunk bed thing, and up above here I have supplies too. And I have a storage unit with supplies in it. Those are my teaching supplies for my workshops. Zandra says, word. It's okay. Kim, you have a business, so those are for your business. Let's see. There's an economic theory out there that if you take the incomes of your 5 closest friends and you average them, the resulting number will be pretty close to your own income. Ha, Kim says, justifying does it say election? Justifying the collection, right? You know what? I can justify my collection. I had a pine cone problem for a really long time. I would go collect pine cones, and I'd collect stuff on the beach. And then I'd get home and I'd make 1 or 2 things with them. And then I just had all these really cool supplies for stuff. So, I used them eventually. See, pine cones. Zandra says, nope, she used to collect sticks. You know what? They're art supplies, you guys. You didn't have to buy those. That's great. I commend you for that. All right, so average your 5 closest friends' income and see what it is. And that should be pretty close to your own. Wow. So I think the same thing is true of our idea incomes. You're only going to be as good as the stuff you surround yourself with. My mom used to say to me, garbage in, garbage out, and it used to drive me nuts. But now I know what she meant. Zandra says she used to collect sticks, not even walking sticks, just like sticks and twigs. It's okay. Make a tiny fairy house with them and sell them on Etsy, okay? It's all good. Make little tiny huts with your little twigs. There's so much you can do with twigs. Those are still art supplies. Just stop. Put them in a box. Make a day to do something with them. So your job is to collect good ideas. The more good ideas you collect, the more you can choose to be influenced by. So steal from Jim Jarmusch. Why is my phone going off? Jim Jarmusch says, steal from anywhere that resonates with inspiration or fuels your imagination. Devour old films, paintings, photographs, poems, dreams, random conversations, architecture, bridges, sticks, twigs, broken glass, pine cones, bodies of water, light and shadows, photos. Select only things to steal from that speaks directly to your soul. If you do this, your work and theft will be authentic. All right, so look, we are totally okay with our collections, right? We can collect ideas. We can collect little things for our artist altar and our little workspace. We collect people that inspire us. All of that, you guys. It's all good in the hood, yo. So down here it says, climb your own family tree. I know that he didn't mean this, but that just makes me think of incest. Please strike that from the record. Okay, we'll do a redo. Climb your own family tree. Marcel Duchamp said, I don't believe in art, I believe in artists. This is actually a pretty good method for studying. If you try to devour the history of your discipline all at once, you'll choke. Sandra says, ouch. You fell out of the family tree. I fell out of the family tree. I hit every weird stick on the way down, which is why I'm so delightfully peculiar. Kim says, wow. Sandra says, ouch. Sandra says, word. All right. I believe in artists. I believe in you guys. Instead, chew on one thinker, a writer, an artist, an activist, a role model that you really love. Nice metaphor, Sandra says. Study everything there is to know about that thinker. Then find 3 people that thinker loved and find out everything about them. Repeat this as many times as you can. Climb up the tree as far as you can go. Once you build your tree, it's time to start your own branch. Okay. So climbing your own family tree. So then that what this means to me is that just in the page before, we need to find what resonates with us. And we need to surround ourselves with things that resonate with us as individuals, as thinkers, as artists, as creatives. And then we need to build our family tree based off of one person that really inspires us, and then 3 people that really inspire them. And then you know what you have? You have a really solid foundation for a mentor, for an influence. You have a really solid foundation for inspiration. Once you build your tree, it's time to start your own branch. So we have, oh my God, my eye makeup. So we have you, and the d, and then the d, and then it goes bruh, and then it grows into a tree. Those technical terms are patented by Sari Luna Designs. Please do not take my sounds. Seeing yourself as part of a creative lineage will help you feel less alone as you start making your own stuff. I hang pictures of my favorite artists in my studio. I actually don't, but I have art. This painting behind me, I won. This is a local Seattle artist. Very super nice fella. Painted that thing in I think there was a 4-hour little art, it's like a fundraiser or something. And, you're drinking beer, you're chatting, whatever. And then he's painting and then moving around, socializing and painting. And so over the course of that period, he wasn't painting the entire time. He painted this entire thing. And I won it in the raffle. And then I was like, oh yeah, I can fit that in my car. No, it was literally an inch too big to fit in my car. Well, it's a piece of wood, and my roof rack on my car is rounded for some reason. So when I went to tie down the art on the top of my car, it was flippity floppity, and I was so scared. I took all the back roads home going so slow, but it made it home with me, and I love it. Love it. So again, I did not paint this. A local Seattle artist did. His Instagram handle is Drawn to Sketching. Oh, I think he recently changed it. So I was like, who the heck is this on my Instagram feed? It looks like that guy. I don't know. Okay. Let's get back to the book. Seeing yourself as part of a creative lineage will help you feel less alone as you start making your own stuff. I hang pictures of my favorite artists in my studio. They're like friendly ghosts. I can almost feel them pushing me forward as I'm hunched over my desk. You know, I really like that idea. I want to get, there's this really cool picture of Salvador Dali, and he has an art easel, and he put it on like a raft or something, and he was in the water, and his art easel was floating on top of the water, and Salvador Dali sitting there painting. Like, I would absolutely love to get a photo of that and hang it in my art studio. Kim says, I love the idea of hanging photos of favorite artists in my studio and then having my back. Yes, I love it. Why don't we make that? Let's do that this week, you guys. We need to be writing these down so we can have little tasks. Cripes. I don't have a pen. I'll go back and do it. I always say that and I never do. I'll go back and do it. Do it now. Kim says, did you know Dali was named after his dead brother? No, I had no idea. It's like in The Simpsons when they have their cat, and then there's the cat, what's his name, Itchy? No, Itchy and Scratchy was their TV show. But their cat, they had like 3 different cats with the same name. And I know that's not the same as people, but Sandra says it's kind of like my week 9 Power Singer vision board. And Sandra says that's kind of creepy. Yeah. I'm going to have a kid. He's going to die. And I'm going to name my new kid the same thing. Because I really like that name and I want a living. That is weird. Well, is it any weirder than like naming your kid after their father or something? Why are there no pins within reach here? You guys are just going to have to hang on. Okay. So I have a colored pencil. So what we're going to do, let's do, oh my gosh, there's so many ideas in this book. I love it. Hang, oh my God, this colored pencil sucks. Because it's like some off-brand called Art Studio that doesn't even stick to the paper. Why do I even have these? Photos. Inspirational artists. So Zandra says, I did know a dude who slept around, fathered a lot of kids, and most of the daughters he named Crystal, unbeknownst to any of the mothers. Can you imagine having like, my name's Crystal and I have like 4 half-sisters named Crystal? Zandra says he had at least 5 daughters named Crystal. That's horrible. That's terrible. Dude. Sucks. Okay. Sandra says 4 half-sisters named Crystal was what happened to my friend. No, before I read your comment, I said that. So get out of my head, Sandra. Or should I get out of your head? I don't really know. That's trippy. Back to the book. Oh my God, I love you guys. The great thing about dead or remote masters. Oh my God, and I stole this book from my friend named Crystal. Stop it. And Zondra's confirming that is what happened. Oh my God. What? Okay. Today's live stream is sponsored by the name Crystal. The great thing about dead or remote masters is that they can't refuse you as an apprentice. You're training me. You can learn whatever you want from them. They left their lesson plans in their work. Now, that's a really cool skill because when I used to teach for paint night, they would assign me a painting and then I'd have to look at it and figure out how the hell am I going to teach this in 2 hours to a class of 40 people? And so I would reverse engineer the painting and then set a timer for an hour, because if I can paint the painting in an hour, that means I can also teach and individually help people. So I had to reverse engineer the painting, and I learned a lot from doing that. Kim says that Salvador Dali was born 9 months after his brother died. His parents believed that their second son was his dead brother, reincarnated, and they convinced Salvador that, and his belief both haunted and influenced the artist for the rest of his life. Oh my God. Whoa. See, I love Salvador Dali, and you know what? I think that I need to get a book on him, although I do have 3 books sitting over there on Van Gogh. That's so messed up, Kim. So I'm going to have a family tree that includes Van Gogh and Salvador Dali. And I'm going to do my research on both of them because I've got all my Van Gogh books. And Van Gogh's an amazing. Kim says it's messed up. Okay. So there's this show called Ghost Inside My Child, and I think you can still find it on YouTube, and it's related to what Kim just said about Salvador Dali, but it has nothing to do with him specifically. So if you're interested in that subject of reincarnation or like mystery kind of like regarding the afterlife, you should definitely check out Ghost Inside My Child. And Kim says that her great-grandfather was friends with Van Gogh. Shut up! Shut up! Was that the one that the yellow chair painting was about? Hold on. So Van Gogh did this painting with the chair. It's very famous. And the chair was empty, and it symbolized his friend that they got into a fight and never spoke again. And they used to sit every Sunday or whatever. And this one, is it Paul Gauguin? Is that your friend? Because there's a painting, Paul Gauguin's armchair. And so they got into a fight, and he never saw him again before he died, but he did an empty painting or an empty chair symbolizing that he was missing from his life. And it's just so heartbreaking. Kim says Dave Ramsey Sellers is my great-grandfather. They were drinking buddies. No way. Oh my God. Okay, if they mention that fella in here, I'm going to know that's your great-grandfather, Kim. Whoa. What a trip. We're getting... And Toulouse-Lautrec. Toulouse-Lautrec. What a trip. Oh my God. You guys are cool. Look, I know a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy. And another artist, look him up. You will love him. Toulouse-Lautrec. Okay. Toulouse artist. This colored pencil sucks. And Zondra's telling Kim that she has art in her blood. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. I bleed paint. All right, y'all. Okay. So exciting. And Zandra is related to a bunch of crazy Italians. That is all. We have some interesting. Okay. So we got a little illustration here on this page. And it says, oh my God, I can't read. It's like flipping the image. Kim loves crazy Italian, she says. So it says, read deeply, stay open, continue to wonder, and Google it, yo. And this is what made me laugh, Google it, yo, because when I was in high school, or no, when I was in college, my theme was Google that shit. Just don't know it? Google that shit. So school yourself. You can learn whatever you want on YouTube. Look at you guys learning all this goodie. School yourself. School is one thing, education is another. The two don't always overlap. Whether you're in school or not, it's always your job to get yourself an education. You have to be curious about the world in which you live. Look things up. Chase down every reference. Go deeper than anybody else. That is how you'll get ahead. Google everything. And I mean everything. Google your dreams. Google your problems. Don't ask a question before you Google it. You'll either find the answer or you'll come up with a better question. And here's a quote over here from RZA, and it says, whether I went to school or not, I would always study. So this thing about Googling it, like sometimes I find myself being like, I'm wanting to ask somebody, oh, this music changed. I'm wanting to ask somebody a question, but then I'm like, oh, I could just Google that and not sound like an idiot on Facebook. We have a new music track on here. It's Alice in Wonderland. I think I'm just gonna let it play. I'll put the other one back on. Nah. Let's go back to our super chill. I'm in my YouTube on my TV, and it's like asking me to watch this live stream on my TV. How obnoxious would that be? So let's go here to the library. Let's go back to Nora and Pure. So I was listening to Nora and Pure, and I linked back to her. Oh my god. Stop it. You. Yeah. What happens when you can't be around it? So anyway, let's stick with Laura and Pure or Nora and Pure because she's pretty chill and great. So Google everything, educate yourself. I'll like go to ask people what things mean on Facebook, and like then before I ask, like I'll be sitting there and I'll be like thinking to type it, and I'm like, oh, I can just type that into Google. So always be reading. Go to the library. There's magic in being surrounded by books. Get lost in the stacks. Read bibliographies. It's not the book you start with. It's the book that the book leads you to. Collect books, even if you don't plan on reading them right away. Nothing is more important than an unread library. Don't worry about doing research. Just search. So, search. Be curious. Yeah. I like it. Sometimes I'll be reading like a novel and I'll be like, oh my God, I really love that scene. I want to go and paint it. And the biggest mistake that I make is feeling that, oh my God, I want to go and paint it, and say, oh, I'll just write it down and do it later. Or not doing it when that inspiration hits. That is the biggest mistake that I've been making lately. And even in the past, is feeling that, oh, I really want to illustrate that, and just saying I'll do it later. And it was like, if you really want to illustrate it, do it now. I know we've been over this a lot. Uh-oh. Oh no, stop. So it says, save your thefts for later. This is telling you the opposite of what I just said. Carry a notebook and a pen with you wherever you go. Get used to pulling it out and jotting down your thoughts and observations. Copy your favorite passages out of books. Record overheard conversations. Doodle when you're on the phone. So I think my mistake is writing it down and not setting aside time to going back and doing it. Yeah. Go to whatever lengths necessary to make sure you always have paper on you. Artist David Hockney had all the inside pockets of his suit jacket tailored to fit a sketchbook. The musician Arthur Russell. Kim says, do it. Zandra says, yeah. Zandra says, word. Okay. The musician Arthur Russell likes to wear shirts with 2 front pockets so he could fill them with scraps of score sheets. Keep a swiped file. It's just what it sounds like, a file to keep track of all the stuff you've swiped from others. It can be digital or analog. It doesn't matter what form it takes, as long as it works. You can keep a scrapbook and cut and paste things into it. Oh my God, I love doing that. Give me something solid, something paper. If I write like digital notes, I lose it. I need that physical whatever. So my mom gave me those, the sleeves that you could put in a binder. And she goes, here, stuff your stuff in that. And so I kind of use that to organize things by category. If I get too many categories, it gets really out of control. But that's something helpful. You can keep a scrapbook and cut and paste things into it. And you can just take pictures of things with your camera phone. See something worth stealing? Put it in a swipe file. Need a little inspiration? Open the swipe file. So yeah, I'll take pictures of stuff when I'm out walking around. Something like a texture, a color, a scene. I'll take photos of them. And like I said, my biggest mistake is not going back to the things I take inspiration from. So not carving that time out to actually use that inspiration. Yeah, so something fun that might be good to do is take some crayons, and they're rudimentary and that's purposeful. So take some crayons and sketch stuff out. And then whatever one resonates the most with you that you get most excited about, then go ahead and turn that into like a painting or a drawing or something. And the reason why I say crayons is because it forces you to get down to the basics. What is the basic thing that inspires you about it? And that's a really cool tool that I like to use. Newspaper reporters call this a morgue file, swipe file. I like that name even better. Your morgue file is where you keep the dead things that you'll later reanimate in your work. Oh, I love it. Mark Twain says, it is better to take what does not belong to you than to let it lie around neglected. It is better to take what does not belong to you than to let it lie around neglected. So Zandra says, Kim says that she loves texture, close-ups of architecture. So do I. So fun, so rich. Zandra says Zandra says I have 2 entire legal file cabinet drawers full of ideas I've swiped for songs. Sometimes I even use them. And my hard drive has hundreds of swiped ideas. I love it. And you know what? That's beautiful. So again, that comes back to that collection. We have these collections of things that inspire us, and we really need that, because sometimes even just the act of collecting it can file it in your brain. And again, like I was saying, talking about creativity and innovation, if it's been in your brain at some point, sometimes I'll see something and I think, oh my God, that would go good with that other thing that I've already swiped and put in my morgue file. Is that what they called it? A morgue file? I really like that because I'm going to reanimate it. So I'll see something. I'll be like, oh crap, that would go really well with that. And then I'll like go back to my file and I'll be like rooting through it, be like, oh, what is that thing? What is that thing? And then you can put them together and it just makes, it's really cool. It's nice to have, it's like your toy chest, right? Like when you're a little kid, you have like a toy chest and your mom's like, hey, you got all these toys around, you gotta put them in your toy box. So when you go and you put them in there, and then sometimes just the act of like looking through it, you find something that you forgot about. Okay guys, that was it. So don't wait until you know who you are to get started is next week's chapter. If you guys want to, you can go ahead and read through it. Otherwise, I'll do the same thing. After going through this first chapter, I have some ideas of how to structure this moving forward. So I'm going to be making some changes, some rolling changes. As we go through this, as we go through these books, I have some ideas on how we're going to move forward. So I'll work with that this week. I definitely have work to do today so that we can keep this thing going and make it a little more structured. But I also like it being fun and open in the chat. So thank you guys so much. One thing that I think we need to do that we talked about is finding an inspirational artist and hanging a picture of them in your workspace. And then whoever that artist might be, Zandra, it might be a songwriter for you. Kim, it might be, it could even be like an author, like Mark Twain himself. I find him very inspirational. So whoever it is that inspires you, that's really iconic for you, let's build our family tree. So let's find one person to research that's really inspirational to us. And let's start there. And then if that's the same artist that inspires you, go ahead and hang a picture of them or whoever that artist is in your workspace. So we have 2 pieces of homework this week. So let's do that. So we'll do a family tree. And we're going to hang the photos of the inspirational artists. So, you guys, I have your emails, Zandra and Kim. I'm going to add you to my email list if that's okay with you. Jeremy, if you're watching and you'd like to be added, go ahead and put your name in there. Again, like I said, I have some rolling changes moving forward. I don't know when I'm going to implement them just because I have a lot of moving parts right now. But yeah, okay, so Kim says she's good. Zandra says she's in. Kim says, I did get the companion journal. Perfect. So Kim, I'm going to get the companion journal as well. Is there anything that you saw from this week that you'd like to share? If not, just moving forward next week, we'll go through some stuff. And so Kim says, yes, add me to the list. Jeremy, if you send me your email address, I'll add you to the list too if you're interested. And then moving forward, I'm gonna start implementing some more structure. And so we'll see how far I get. All right. So any further comments? I really like this book so far. I think it's really helpful, very stimulating. I think that after our Artist's Way book for our last book, that it's gonna just really start building on top of it. And in here it says, we're talking about the people that you spend your time around. And if we're doing this every week, you guys, we're gonna have such a good creative base, and we're gonna have a good group of people to collectively throw ideas against. And I feel like this is the start of a really cool community, and I'm really happy you guys are here. So Kim says, this week, Kim gave us the note from the journal. So this week, again, we're going to do our family tree, and we're going to research. Since I already have books on him, I'm going to go with Van Gogh. And then for the artist, I'm going to hang that photo of Salvador Dali in my art area because I find that's a really inspirational photo to me. It's playful, it's fun. And then we're going to do a family tree. So whoever really inspires you. For me, Van Gogh and Salvador Dali are some of those real inspirational artists for me. And reading through Van Gogh's book here, he uses a lot of symbolism in his books, and I really enjoy reading about it. And I really feel I really feel a strong connection to Van Gogh. So I think I'll use him for the start of my family tree. And then Kim has some notes here. So one thing that we want to do is list out 10 things that you want to learn. And this is from the journal that accompanies this book that Austin Kleon wrote. So 10 things to learn. And then another one is, Kim's asking, when you move to Patreon and what level? So Patreon, I started an account like a couple years ago, but I was still growing what it was I was trying to do. So what I'm doing is, I think what I'm going to start with is a $5 a month subscription, and you can get access to all my content, including a full-length tutorial that I filmed several years ago now for my birthday, on how to do a psychedelic pet portrait. Oh man, I just took it to my storage unit. So at the $5 a month level, you get access to everything. At $10 a month, you get access to everything, and you get your name in the credit reel. So at the end of all my videos, I'll have a credit reel, and if you're contributing, you'll get your name in the credits as a contributor. And then at a $15 level every quarter, so every 3 months, I will be sending you a mystery package. So you'll get like something really cool from me, an art-based package. So that's what I'm going to start with. And because the videos do take time, and because this is a business, I'm going to be starting there. So we'll continue on with these live streams, you guys. But structuring going forward, I'm thinking about how to restructure it. So it could be something like I don't know yet, I guess is the answer to your question. I'm still working the kinks out of that. I have an idea, but I'm not ready to say anything other than my, $5 a month, $10 a month, and my $15 a month. So my Patreon is just patreon.com/Sari Luna Designs, SariLunaDesigns. There is a link in the bottom here. So if you guys want to become patrons, you can. I'll still have free content, and then I'll just I'll have like some more beefed up content on there. So like this workshop that we just did, I'm going to take the videos that we did, and I'm going to move some of the content to my paid platform. And I'm going to have a smaller amount of the content is going to stay on YouTube. So a lot of the conversations that we had, Kim and Zandra and Jeremy, and a lot of those conversations that we had are going to be moved to just people that are going to pay. So that's not going to be free forever for people to go back and see. And so it's going to be kind of something like that. So when I'm doing this content, I'm going to have to think about the best way for me to structure it so that you can still get value watching it for free. But you can also get more value if you choose to come and go to Patreon. So as far as the technicalities of how that's going to work, like maybe do a live stream and then split it up into 2 videos, I don't know yet. Long-winded answer. I hope that answered your question, Kim. So anyway, if you guys want, go ahead and do your homework. If you didn't write it down, I'll go ahead and read it off again. So again, it was that family tree, taking one person that we were inspired from. Oh yeah, and you guys have the book too. Taking that family tree, one person you guys were inspired from, and then figuring out who was inspirational to them and researching 3 of those people. Then we're going to hang a photo of an artist that inspires us in our workspace. And then we're going to answer the questions, 10 things that we want to learn. All right. Oh yeah, and if you don't have an inspiration file, go ahead and start one. It sounds like Sandra already has one. I'm sure Kim already has one. I have one. And in fact, I have multiple sources. So I save files to my computer. I have a Pinterest. I have a pile of paper. I have stuff I print off. I have reference images, things I can clip out of a magazine. So really, there's no end in content that can be inspirational for us. So Kim says, yes, it answered a question. Have a great week. And remember to keep your art in your heart. I love it. Thank you guys so much. We will meet back here again next week. If you don't have the journal and you'd like to get it, go ahead and get that. I'm going to get it too. So, all right. Ciao for now. Oh, also don't forget, please share this with your friends. Once I hit 100 subscribers, I can get a custom YouTube channel. So right now it's like a bunch of letters and numbers and stuff. And so it would be like youtube.com/SariLunaDesigns once I get 100 subscribers. So that's kind of my goal right now, is to get to 100 subscribers. If you have friends that are creative that you think would be interested, send them on over. All right, y'all. Love you. Thank you so much. Happy creating. Ciao for now.